as I mentioned earlier, it is great to have an opportunity to come together and just do some special things during this class time. If you have not watched the recording of Matt Miller last month when he was here with us, sharing his story and insights on forgiveness, that is definitely worth your time. It was a really, I think, important topic for us to hear from him, and I'm grateful for an opportunity like this where we could do that. And we have an opportunity during this class time also to go over something that will be important and helpful for us. There's an old story about three men who were working on a project, and someone went up and asked each one of them what they were doing. And one said, well, I'm just taking these bricks from over here and I'm moving them here. And then one said, well, I've got a foundation here and I'm starting to lay some of these bricks. And then the third one, when asked what he was doing, he said, I'm building a cathedral. It was three different ways of looking at the project, right? The two of them just kind of focused on the task at hand. One was focusing on the mission. And as we think about our mission together as a church family, it strikes me how many times in Scripture Christians are referred to as part of a body. I just want to remind us of what Paul told the church at Ephesus when he described all the different roles everyone had. He says in verse 12 of Ephesians 4 that they were put in those places for the equipping of the saints for the work of service or ministry. The equipping of the saints. The Christians, all of us are involved in service in ministry to the building up of the body of Christ. It's not an accident that we are described as a body multiple times in the New Testament and different parts of the body working together. And so what we're going to be able to do tonight is to talk about and hear about a tool that will help us as we serve in the body together. And so I just want to remind you as we go through this, I know at least I'll express what happens to me sometimes. Maybe you can identify it with it. There are some times when I'm using, maybe it's a tool I've used before or a website or something online, and it seems like there's always an update, right? You always have to get this update, or I've got to learn how to do this differently. That's kind of the way technology works, right? It's consistently changing, updating passwords, which is important, and then you're trying to remember your last password, and then when you put in a new one, you say, well, here's my new password, and they say, that was your last password, and you say, well, that didn't work. You go through all of those kinds of things. We know what that's like. But what keeps us continuing to do that is we want to accomplish something. We want to accomplish whatever it is that allows us to do. For parents, if you want to find out something about your child, about either whether it's their grades or something from school, you're going to figure out how to use that app because you want to be part of the information there. Even if it's a social media app where there are pictures you want to see and there's information you want, right? We understand that motivates us to learn. And so as Chad walks us through this tonight, I just want to remind us that we're not just looking at a tool, we're thinking of the mission behind it. The mission that unifies us, that will help us to communicate with each other better and to work together better. We're thinking about our mission. And so as we look at each of the tools that we use, and there are several that we use for different ministries, we're thinking ultimately about our mission. And this is the result of a lot of people that have been working hard over the last few months to put all this together. And so I hope that we can leave here excited about this tool that'll help us minister more effectively. And I'll let Chad come and tell us about it.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And he perfectly encapsulated what we are going to be trying to do and what we're going to be talking about tonight. And so you might be familiar with this. You might already be set up on this. And then again, you might not. This may be the first that you're hearing of it. But we are looking tonight at Planning Center. And Planning Center is the tool that we're going to be using. What you are using is what's called the Church Center app. And we'll go through all of this tonight. Just know that Planning Center is the things that we are using. I don't know why they chose to name it two different things. I guess that's how technology goes in some respects. But Planning Center is the tool that we are going to be using. And so you may have heard and you may have already registered and used this and may have not even remembered that you did. If you registered for VBS at all in the last 2 years, or Lads to Leaders in the last 2 years, you have used this platform. And so we're going to talk about this tool tonight. And so in tonight's presentation, this is basically what we're going to hit on. What is it? Why are we changing to this? Why the change? Why would we introduce something new like this? Why right now? Why do we need something like this? And so the benefit, what benefit will this give us? There has to be a benefit here. If we're moving to something new and trying to get you or asking you to adopt something new, we believe there clearly is going to be a benefit, and that is one of unification and connection. It's going to allow us to get information out there a little bit quicker. It's going to allow us to connect a little bit more, to be more connected to our Bible classes and the youth group and all sorts of different things like that too. And then the last question is, how do I get started? We're going to go over step by step how to get started, but I'm also going to walk you through the app just to kind of give you a tour of sorts and let you see what it can do. And you may have tapped around on the app and saw the different things that it can do already, but we're going to go ahead and talk about that here tonight. So the first thing is, what is it? What is it? Well, we're looking at this management system. It is, simply put, an internal church management system. And obviously, internal being the key word there. This is not a Facebook group. This is not public. It is for Graymere members to use, but it is also for our visitors. So anybody that comes in, we've got a whole host of people and a part of our, I guess you would call it a database, a list of people that we have contact info for that have come to our VBS the last few years. And so we've got several of those people, and those people, when they come to repeated VBSs or they come to any event at Graymere, that we ask them to sign in with this, it's just going to have their information on there already. And so that's also a very, very great thing. And so I do want to emphasize, your information is safe. We control the admin, when I say admins, I mean to say administrators. The administrators of Planning Center, which are the ministers and the elders at present, and we have a few group leaders and class leaders that we will be installing as well. But the administrators can see that information, and that's about it. And so when we think about this, this is really a giant toolbox, just under one umbrella for us to manage events, activities, classes, registrations, lots of other things that are going on here at Graymere. It's going to allow our elders to shepherd better. It is going to allow our ministers to minister better and allow our staff to coordinate better. And so this is going to be a really, really neat tool. For 90% of you, though, your way of interacting with this is going to be a new platform on the Church Center app. Now, I'm sitting here right now, and I am getting notifications right now of people joining groups. And that's okay. That's fine. It's literally popping up right here on my iPad because I get an email every time somebody requests to join a group, especially a class group, because I am one of the class administrators for every class here. Obviously, that's obviously my area of responsibility here at Graymere. And so anytime you request to join a group, and you can join multiple groups, and we have primarily classes in the youth group and different things like that, and I'll walk through all that. But anytime you do that, I get an email, and so just be aware of that. But for 90% of you, Church Center is what you're going to be interacting with. The only reason I'm even talking about Planning Center tonight is because that is the tool that we're using. And so if you wanted to look up and look at Planning Center a little bit, if you wanted to go look and research that a little bit, you can go to planningcenter.com. You can check out all of their stats and all the different stuff that you want to look at for that. But it is a really, really good platform. So we're already using this for a lot of different things. Why the change, though? Why the change? Well, we're not doing this for change's sake, obviously. I think we've stated that already. Andrew said that already. We're doing this to be better organized, better unified, have better communication with the congregation, okay? And so this has kind of been our structure for the last, and I can only speak to the last decade because I've only been here about 10 years. So even before that, but we've had all of these things that work decently well together, but they're unconnected. They're separate places and platforms where we've had all sorts of different tools and different people to get those jobs done. Now what we want to do is bring all of that under one umbrella. And there are some things that will not change. So I know that one of your questions, and I've had some questions from you already, the online giving, Rebel Give, the way that you give, that will not change. Okay, that will not change right now at all. The church directory app will not change. You can still look up people's phone numbers. That's for our members only. And so that's going to be one of those directory. The directory is not going anywhere. And so we're just going to keep that as it will. But a couple of other things, like maybe our daily emails or other things that we are messaging and sending out information on a weekly basis, maybe that is going to kind of transfer into changing just a little bit. And so again, we are looking at seamless communication here, that we can work quicker and better this way. And I will say, Planning Center is not exactly a new fad. This is a graphic that they shared at the end of 2024. And you can see some of these numbers are just unbelievable. Now, what catches your eye is this 12 billion in donations, right? That's from donations as far as contribution numbers. That they also offer that as a service. But again, we're keeping our Rebel Give. But look at all these numbers, 106 million check-ins. Now we're going to be looking at check-in here in a little bit. In fact, that's one of the first things that we're going to try to do here in the month of March. And so I'll describe that here in just a minute. But we've got 595 million emails. That's about the number of emails I get every day. So in 2024, though, there are churches, and I don't know about the number of churches that they have, but I will tell you that there are some very churches that we know.
Yeah, on the screen before, look, it says 80,000.
80, there you go, 80,000 churches. Thank you, Miss Amy Hayes. And over 1 million users. So that's it's by no means, this is not Facebook and Google numbers, but this is absolutely something that we can depend on that's been around for a little while. This is not just something brand new. And obviously there's churches that are our size, even bigger than our size. This is just 3 of them. There are lots of churches. In fact, when you onboard tonight, if you've already done that, that's great. But if you choose to do that tonight, you'll see Southgate as in the list of churches that you can actually join theirs. Now, I don't know how that works. If you can only be a member of like one, I think. You can do both? Okay, there you go. So Miss.
Some churches do, some churches don't.
And Miss Debbie is pointing out that I don't know everything about this thing. I'm just going to go ahead and say that right out front. And if you have questions, and again, there will be questions, we will find those answers for you. We may not have them at the moment, but we will find them for you. But of course, Mount Juliet, I have actually leaned on Blaine McKinney. If you know Blaine McKinney at all, he's been their media outreach minister there at Mount Juliet. He is the Planning Center Church of Christ guru, and every time I have a question, I call him. And so it's very good. But we have actually had a phenomenal woman come on board, Monica Hayes, and she actually was a member at Creve Hall. She has been working for the past few months with our planning center. She's been sifting through all of those records that say you're 13 and you can't join this. Did you ever get that? So she's been working through all those different records and things like that and squaring away all of our planning center data and stuff like that, creating a bunch of events. Pretty much all of what you see on Planning Center, or excuse me, on the Church Center app right now is because she has done it here in the last few months. And so we want to make sure to recognize her as well. So what benefit is this going to give us? What benefit is this going to give us? Well, this is going to be unity and communication, obviously, is one of the big benefits here. And so primarily it's one platform, one toolbox that we can use. We are already using Planning Center and seeing the benefits. In fact, we've been using it probably for the last 1.5 to 2 years. We started in 2023 taking registrations for VBS. That was kind of our first trial to do this. And so we took registrations for that. You may have seen that it actually prints out the stickers for the kids to wear as well as the parents to wear. That is something that we want to make sure that we can adopt for our pre-K and maybe even for our elementary classes so that people can check in their kids. And this will be hopefully every Sunday. And so I think that's amazing for security purposes. and it's going to be pretty great. So we're down the road. That's what we're looking at as well. But Monica has already been hard work organizing. JD he's been a champion of this in the last few months. He has jumped in with both feet, and he has gotten the youth to adopt it. He is actually taking payments for different things. In fact, we're taking payments for 3 different events right now: preaching workshop, the ladies retreat right now, and youth ministers retreat as well. And so that being said, payments are not an easy thing to get set up. And the fact that you can pay with like a credit card or Apple Pay and you can just have that done is pretty outstanding. And so that is something that we're looking to expand in the future as well. But anyway, we have registered VBS and Lads to Leaders for the past 2 years. And so we are already seeing the benefits of this. This is something that is not necessarily new to us, but it could be new to you. When we think about, again, Church Center is going to be the app that you are going to be using. And the next question is, how do you get started? I want to make sure that you understand this. This is why I kind of wrote it out here on the slide. It's the Church Center app is how you're going to use the new platform. That's what the icon looks like. It should look like that on Android and on iOS. On your Apple phone, on an Android phone, they're going to look the same. That's the beauty of this. They don't look all that different. There may be just a few subtle differences, but they look pretty much the same on both of those platforms. And so you're going to be able to check in on Sunday mornings. We'll talk about that. Register, pay for events, check event calendars, keep up with class news. Andrew is already using it for his Fellowship Hall class news, and so that gets sent as an email to you. Not everything. You don't have to check in with the app. You don't have to open the app to check everything. Sometimes emails will just go directly to your email account, and you don't have to open Church Center. But for the majority of things, you will be able to look at Church Center and see all these different things. So how do you get started? Well, what we're going to look at here is, you may have seen this flyer. Monica put together this flyer about a month ago, and we have gotten a lot of people as takers on that. I know because I have seen and checked in on the app and seen you requesting. I had probably 3 or 4 requests waiting for me this morning of people wanting to join different Bible classes and different things like that, and that is just tremendous. And so what I want to ask you to do is, if you have not done that right now, you can actually scan this, and it will send you to exactly where you need to go. And so if you have not done that, you can do the, just pull up your phone and pull up the, see, I've got 5, I've got 5 emails sitting right here on my phone, right here. That's great. Just open your camera app and then point it at that, and it should pop up a little thing to where you can tap on that, and it will send you directly to the thing. Can y'all see it? Can y'all get it? All that to say, when you scan this, it should take you directly to the App Store if you do not have the app. If you do have the app already, it will ask for your phone number next. And so I'll put that up here on the screen as soon as we get everybody situated. And again, the more people that we can get on this, the better. A pretty good question, while people are scanning here, a pretty good question is, do you have to use this? Well, you don't have to. But it's hopefully the primary way that we're going to be moving forward with some of our communication methods here in the future, okay? And so we would love for you to, if you have a smartphone and you're able to do it, we would love for you to be on board with us. All right, so if you get this thing right here, if you scan that and you got this thing right here, you're already set up, good to go, right? And so that should pop up, you're already set up, and you're good to go. Now these flyers are all over the building, okay? They're especially in these hallways and in the education foyer, and especially out here. So if you missed that somehow and you want to scan it later, we'll keep those up for the time being. We're also going to put this in an email form out to the congregation, but we're also going to put this in the announcements. And so when you see the announcement slides come up on Sunday morning, you'll be able to scan it there as well. Can visitors get on here? Yes, they can. Like I said, we've got a bunch. We've got hundreds of visitors that have already logged in from things like VBS. And so visitors are no problem. In fact, the way that we check in now on Sunday mornings, and I'll talk about check-ins in a little bit, you will see on Graymere.com, we are always directing you to Graymere.com, and there's the online check-in and the guest check-in. That is going to change. And so we're going to be able to check in with this app. And the beauty of that is that you don't have to fill out any information anymore. The app already knows who you are. It knows where you're at, and you can go and check in. It's just 1, 2, 3 taps, and then you're done. And so you don't have to fill in who's there. You don't have to fill in that you're in any other place or anything like that. So yeah, if you're under 13, we are fixing that. And Monica, actually, that is the number one thing. We really don't know how that got like that, but she's fixing it. And so we had some of our elders who were under 13, and so we're fixing it. That's all I can tell you. But yes, it's going to be amazing once we get all that sorted. But again, Monica has been working very, very hard at this, and she has been doing a very, very good job with all that. When we go here, this is what your onboarding process will look like. You'll go and you'll connect here. You'll see we need your location. So they do use your location data right here at the beginning. But that's one of the only times they do. And then obviously Graymere will pop up here at the top of the list, especially if you're in the area of the building, because the GPS knows where you are. And so obviously you'll tap on Graymere. You'll go to log in here, or I don't know a whole lot about this, so I'm not going to get into it, but you can use it as a guest. I'm not going to go into that. And so to continue here, you can use your mobile number, and the good thing about it is that we have most of everybody, if your record is in the directory already, the online instant church directory, then what we did is we took that data and we put it into Planning Center, and that's why we're trying to sort through some of the planning and stuff with that. Now your children can be on here as well, but unless they're 13, obviously, they don't need to be actually on the app and whatever. We've got the youth group on the app. But kids under 13, there's no reason for them to necessarily be on the app unless they are being checked in like at VBS or pre-K, elementary, different things like that. And that's kind of stuff that's down the road. Okay, so you put your mobile number in, and obviously if y'all are not having a bunch of questions about this, you've kind of onboarded. It's very easy to do. You do the 6-digit code. Now that code obviously came to me and when I was signing in the other day. And my app updated, and I hadn't opened it in a week or two, and it made me do this again. So there's no guarantee that it's going to just stay like that forever. So you might see this screen again just to relog back in, but hopefully that's going to be one of those kinds of things that does not happen very often at all, okay? It says we found 22 profiles. That's also not correct. When we did VBS, Monica just started assigning profiles to ministers because we didn't know how it worked really. But it will come up here, and per Doug's question, we can identify who we want to log in as, but also we can identify our household as well. And so if I go up here, this is kind of what the app looks like when you just come on board. Now, yours will look different than this, because yours will be populated with different things right here. And I know that's kind of hard to see, and I'm sorry about that. But I've got my schedule right here, which is a lot of Graymere student ministry stuff, because I'm in the Graymere student ministry because I have a 13-year-old right now. Can you believe that? And I can see all the youth things, which John David has been putting that data in, and it's been really, really great. Those kids are checking in over there and all doing all sorts of different stuff. I've got notifications up here. Odds are you probably won't have a lot of those. When I open my phone when I get home tonight, I'll have 1 million of them because y'all will be joining classes and such. And so what I want to concentrate on is right here at the top, and we're just going to walk through the app here just for a second. So if we go a little bit closer, if you tap on that, and at the very bottom it says Me, those two things go to the same spot, okay? So if I tap on my profile and settings, but also Me, that goes to the same screen. That will take us to this screen, profile and app settings. And again, you will not have administrator tools because you're not an administrator, of course. But you can do dark or light mode. You can actually put what notifications you want. So if you don't want to see notifications except when you open the app, then you can set that right there. You don't have to be bombarded every time somebody, says something in a message or something, or someone sends an email with your class on it or anything like that. You don't have to have that come as a notification. You can turn that off. I would highly recommend that you use Face ID to use the app. But yes, you can use Face ID to use the app. Now, I believe on the fingerprint scanner phones, they will actually have use a fingerprint ID to get on the app as well. But other than that, this is where Doug's question, you can actually identify your household. And so if your household is not correct, Monica has been sorting all that. If it's not correct, then you can send her a message saying, hey, this needs to be corrected, or this person's birth date is wrong, or whatever, and this person needs to be added to my household. And again, if you have questions, we're going to have a help desk available to where you can just come up and ask us questions before Sunday worship and Wednesday worship. We're going to do that for at least a few weeks, if not for the next month or so, just to get everybody sorted. And Monica and I will be available to help you out and try to sort through any of this. And I will tell you, Monica knows a lot more about this than I do. So not trying to tell you to go to her, but she's probably going to be able to solve your problem a whole lot better than I could. So you go to Profile and Settings page. Now we go back to the bottom. So the bottom bar here, you can see there's a bunch of different things that you can tap on. You've got your profile, which we've already looked at, groups, prayer requests, check-in, and we're going to look at each one of these individually before we're done tonight. Now your groups, you will probably not see nearly as many groups because I'm the member of a member of all the class groups. We made a group for every class here at Graymere. So the home builders have their own group. We've got the FR 1, 2, and 3 classes have their own group. And so as the education minister, I'm probably the only one that's a member of all these groups. Now that does not necessarily mean that I have to stay that way. What we're going to do is we're going to identify class leaders. We're going to make them people, administrators in their groups, so on and so forth. And so this is something that's going to happen over the next several weeks, several months. It's not going to be something that is just, all hunky-dory tomorrow, okay? So this is going to be something that constantly moves and changes with us. And frankly, what I love about it is that it can adapt to our needs. Whatever we need it to do, it's a very, very flexible system, okay? And so groups can be almost any group. We've got the youth group as a group, but we've also got classes as a group. We've got a jail ministry group on here already, so we can actually have different groups of different people doing all sorts of different things. It's actually pretty outstanding. When we go to prayer requests, now again, that's at your bottom here, but this is really neat because no longer are prayer requests kind of locked to check-in. You could have checked in on our website and had a prayer request anytime that you wanted to, but this really makes it available to where you can send a prayer request at any time you want. And our elders are the only ones that are going to see that. And so if you need to send a prayer request at any time, if you think about it during worship, you can send it at that time. If you think about it Tuesday afternoon at 4:30 p.m., you can send it then. So it does not matter. 24 hours a day, you can send that prayer request, and you can direct it to general or youth. And so, of course, if it gets directed to the youth, if it's one of the youth prayer requests, that's going to be directed to John David. But the general ones will be directed to our elders. And that is, again, confidential. And so if you share anything to that, the elders see it. The elders will determine what they need to do with that. Yes, sir, go ahead.
You can still we can do what we normally do to add someone to the prayer list.
Yes.
Call the office. So if that's what you want to do, we can do that way. This is for...
Right. If we need to add somebody to the prayer list, or if you need to add somebody, if somebody has been in the hospital or something like that, then you can, by all means, just call the church office or email Karen, and she will get that added in the normal way that we normally do that. So that's not going to change. Thank you, Andrew. But again, prayer requests can be made at any time, and they're only sent to the elders. Okay? Let's talk about check-in. Now, this is the one that I really wanted to talk about. You won't see anything but youth group Wednesday night right now. Okay? What we're targeting here is Sunday AM worship, March 2nd, as being the first Sunday that we use this tool to check in on Sunday. That means that our website check-in will not be, this will be the way that we do that. When you hit online check-in on the website, it will direct you to this. So even for people that are checking in that don't know what they haven't seen this information or they don't know about it, then that's what they're going to be able to do. And so what we're going to try to do, this is going to be really, really nice for us because it's just open up the app, check in, tap, check in, and that's it. And you should be able to do it really, really quickly. We will have check-ins. You will see probably a list of check-ins, and the very first one will probably be the one. So what we'll have is you'll probably have youth group on Wednesday night. We'll probably have a Sunday PM check-in for some Graymere kids kind of stuff. But then at the top of that list, every time you go to this screen, you should see Sunday AM, whatever the date is for check-in, because we can program it to do it every Sunday. And somebody asked me before, they said, well, can I always check in when I wake up in the morning. You can do that. Well, you know what? I check in the car on the way to church so I don't forget. You can do that as well. That's okay. Check-ins are designed to be dead simple. You have a planning center has a lot of limitations on what you can do with check-ins. They want it to only be tap, 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 and you're done. That's why there's no option for prayer requests. That's why there's no options for putting extra things on that. That's why we're probably going to have, and we don't know yet, but we're probably going to have a separate guest check-in for people that are going to be checking in as a guest to take them to a different form again on our app. So again, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be something to get used to. But I think that once we do get it rolling, you're going to really like how it is. You just open up the app, tap, 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 and you're done. It's going to be really, really simple for you. Okay, let's keep moving. The last tab right here is More, and it goes to just two different things right here, calendar and signups. Right now, the church calendar is based upon, I'm not even going to show it because it's got, it doesn't have a whole lot of events on there because John David put all of his events on there under the youth stuff. So you will only see what events are public on Church Center, but also according to what groups that you belong to. Does that make sense? So everybody's going to be able to see the general church calendar, but only you, if you're part of the, let's just say, fellowship hall class, and they decide to have a July, Christmas in July party or whatever, you know. Not that they're doing that, I'm just saying. As an example, and so when they're having that, you would be the only ones that would be able to see information on that and emails on that and different things like that, okay? And so it's kind of really catered to what you've got and what you will see on your app, what you're supposed to see, all right? Sign-ups is where I did want to talk about this as we end tonight. And again, thank you for all your questions, and we do stand ready for your questions afterwards and moving forward. You can add a sign-up for almost any event. We can do that, obviously. But many sign-ups are available right now. In fact, the ladies' retreat is signing up right now. They're able to pay for that retreat right now. That money goes, it's processed through a processing app called Stripe, and then it goes to Graymere. This will only be, right now again, this will only be for our event registrations. It's just a simple way for us to pay. The best part about this is, and I get this right here, is like Jack and Ben, they are going to be loving it because no longer does JD have to go and say, hey Jack, can you look this up? Or Ben, can you look up and see if so-and-so has paid for the youth retreat? And they don't have to do that anymore because we know who has paid. And we know that the money is already, it's going to go to Graymere's account anyway. So that's really a beauty part of it. And it's like really changing how we work and really helping us out for those different things. Same with the ladies' retreat, any other event that we pay for as well. So I will say, last slide. You're going to have questions. You already have had questions. Debbie and Pete have had questions. Doug has had questions. We stand ready to assist you, and we are absolutely thrilled to be doing this. We're absolutely thrilled and excited to be able to have this system, and what a blessing it is for us to be able to communicate and unify everyone. And again, we're going to have a help desk set up over the next few weeks, and I'll get with Monica, and we will have just a table sitting out here in the education for you to come up and sort through some of these ideas and problems that you may have and issues that may crop up. And Monica will have her computer out there, and she will solve every problem for us. Yes, sir.
For events too, one of the things I've already done with preaching workshop is if someone wants to sign up and maybe this is all kind of new, if they can come to me, I can sign them up through planning centers. So
yes.
If you have any questions about this or you're worried about maybe not being able to contact the person in charge of that event, and they'll be able to do that for you. I think that might.
So for the ladies retreat, we had that happen. We had a few ladies that didn't want to go through this process to sign up. And so what we did was we have a sign-up sheet, and they're going to help them sign up, and we can put their information in here as well. And so that's exactly what Andrew's talking about. And so we have multiple ways. Contact that person, the coordinator that you know that's in charge of that event, if you have any questions or would like to do that. Again, thank you for your questions. Let's have a prayer as we end tonight. And again, thank you so much for your questions and attention. And please let me know how we can help. Dear Lord, we thank you so much for this wonderful day. We thank you so much for the blessing of being your children. And Lord, we would hope that you would bless us in our future endeavors, and all the different events that are going to be coming up, but also in our efforts with this new technology and the way that we can connect and unify to one another and help better communicate and strengthen your kingdom, Lord. We thank you so much for the blessing of technology, but mostly for the blessing of your Son. And it's in his name that we pray. Amen. Thank you all very much.